back to the Imperfect Body Podcast. It's your girl, Ash Marie. On today's episode, I just wanted to pause and talk about something that all Christians experience, but I don't think they talk about it enough. On this walk with Christ, not every day you're motivated to pray. Not every day it's easy for you to open the Bible and read the word or be intentional about the things that you know you have to do and you need to do to maintain a healthy relationship with God. And honestly, it doesn't have anything to do with a change of heart or you backsliding or not being interested in the things of God anymore. It's not that. Any Christian that's being real with you that will tell you that some days are just harder than others. This past week for me, it was kind of rough. It was like a drag. For me, I wouldn't say I was in a funk because I wasn't depressed. I wasn't upset. I wasn't in a bad mental space, but for some reason it just felt like it took a lot out of me, more effort than it normally would be for me to be intentional about praying, about reading the word, even to the point where our church does this 3-day consecration and then we meet in person to do the prayer meeting on the last day, which ends on a Wednesday. The church fasts from Monday to Wednesday, and then that last day we meet in person for an in-church prayer meeting. And honestly, I was not going to go. I just didn't feel like going. But whenever I feel that way, I would never forget about a post that I read on one of the social media platforms. I can't remember, but it says, pray when you don't feel like praying because there's something that is trying to stop you from praying. And that always sat with me. And whenever I feel like that, I always remember whenever it's either praying or reading the word or like going to Bible study or even going to church, I always pause and remember that. Like, I will always keep that near and dear because I honestly believe that is so true. When we don't want to do the things to glorify God, I feel like that's an attack. I feel like the enemy tries to put distractions in your way. The enemy tries to place that feeling of you just not wanting to be bothered with it. So with that being said, I pushed through. I prayed as usual. I read my Bible, still not as much as I should. And this is in full transparency, not as for as long as I normally do and not as consistent. But the main thing for me was I was not going to go to Bible study. And I remember saying to myself, just because you don't feel like going, you definitely should go. And let me tell you, I put on my clothes and I went. And I have no regrets. When I left out of there, I felt so energized, so revitalized. And it just goes to show you, once you start, God will give you the fuel. God will give you the energy. And I just wanted to have that conversation with someone. Maybe it can help someone. And I don't want you to think that something is wrong with you. Everyone goes through it, you know? And when I feel those type of feelings in my prayer, I always say, God, please continue to ignite the fire in me. Please continue to give me the thirst and the will and the yearning to search after you, because I don't want to lose that feeling. I don't want to lose the feeling of getting in his presence, losing the feeling of communicating with him and reading his word and getting to know him better. Because this is a relationship. When you give your life to Christ, that is a newfound relationship. Yes, God has always been in love with you. So look at it like this. Someone you find who has always been in love with you, and now you're finally in love with them. You finally have the same feelings for them. And just like in any relationship, you have to build that relationship. There comes communication, there comes trust, there comes respect. that comes setting aside time to meet with each other, to spend time in each other's presence. And that's the same thing with God. So just like how these earthly relationships require time, require effort, require you being intentional, it is the same thing with the Father. You have to spend time to commune with him. You have to carve out time out your day to talk to him. You have to carve out time to spend in his word, to learn about him. And then, of course, meet him would be like dates like going to church, going to prayer meeting, going out places. I consider those dates, and that is so important. And when you think of it that way, you could never outlove God. But think about how it makes him feel, just like how your significant other would feel appreciated when you take that time and you pour it into them. God honors that. God honors when we take time out to speak with him and commune with him, And so I just wanted to pause and say that not every day would be perfect. Not every day things go the way that we want to. Not every day you feel like doing these things. But it is a must. It is something that you have to work on daily. And you don't want the enemy to get in your space. So the time that you spend away from God is the time that the enemy uses to try to creep right in. Just like how you have that annoying, nagging ex, the minute they realize that your current relationship rocky, you see them peeping around the corner trying to see if it's any way for them to get back in. No, on this walk, we have to be intentional even when we don't feel like, because you don't want it to be a one-sided relationship, because God, he ready out doing us. This man loved us from the very beginning. So we got to catch up. We got to spend time. We got to make up for the lost time, and you don't want it to be a one-sided relationship where he's pouring into us and we're giving the bare minimum. Yeah, so I just wanted to encourage you to be intentional and be committed. Okay? And this goes for me too. Whenever I do these episodes, I be speaking to myself. I am learning. I am growing. These things are reminders for me too. Everyone goes through it. And anyone that you talk to that's walking the walk and want to be realistic will tell you that these things happen. So I want to stress to you, stress that nothing is wrong with you. You're not lacking anything. You're not falling off. You're not uncommitted. You're not doing something wrong that makes you feel like you're not driven to do these things, because it happens. But the important thing is we have to make that effort. We have to be intentional. When we feel those feelings of not wanting to, they are the very times when we should. Yeah, so thanks for coming to my TED Talk. So, on another note, I want to start connecting with the people that listen to my podcast. So, I'm considering going live on TikTok, probably, I would say like twice out of the month, for any questions, just to connect, show my face and just chop it up with you guys. So in the comments, you can let me know if that's something that you would be interested in. Yeah, so that's it for now. But remember, bodies, you're made in the image and likeness of God. Bye.